Hi, Potpourri here. I was just doing some baking and I thought, I'm going to share with you some of the tips that I've learned over the years on how to extend the shelf life of different baking ingredients. Stay tuned. So first we're going to talk about using the freezer to prolong shelf life of certain items. Well, I know if you're like me, most people buy baking powder like this in this size container. But 3.5 years ago, it's been 3 years since last October, I was with my daughter. We went across the state border. We're in a little town and they had this great Amish store. So we stopped in and did some shopping. Now don't ask me why. I bought 5 pounds of baking powder. I don't even know if I used 5 pounds of baking powder in my entire life. Why did I buy it? It was a great deal. The price was really good. Anyway, when I got home, I go, what was I thinking of? I put it straight in the freezer. Baking powder usually only lasts about 9 to 12 months. However, let's test this baking powder. Okay, got a teaspoon here. Let's put it in. And this is hot tap water. Can you see it fizz? Definitely is active baking powder. So this has lasted 2.5 years over the normal shelf life. I don't know how long it will last. I'm sure, I don't know, maybe it'll outlast me. I'm going to test it again in a year and see if it's still active, because I think this is kind of amazing. But anyway, you can keep a little container like this also in the freezer and it will last a lot longer. Now let's see what else I keep in my freezer. So here I have flour in my freezer. Now some of you might put it in your freezer for 36 hours to kill any bugs and then keep it in your regular pantry. But flour is only supposed to last about 6 months at room temperature. And I keep my all-purpose flour, and as you can see, my bread flour right in the freezer. And supposedly it's 12 months in the freezer, and I will tell you that it will last even longer. Let's see what else I keep in the freezer. My family likes real butter, and I keep it in the freezer. In the refrigerator, it's supposed to keep for about 2 months, but it'll keep 9 months or longer in the freezer. Now, what I do is when the butter goes on sale, because it's kind of expensive, I buy as much as I can, and if I have coupons, and then I store them in the freezer, and I date them so I know which ones to use first. But it's a great way to extend the shelf life of your butter. At the beginning of this video, I was making an applesauce bread. Well, can only eat 1 loaf at a time, so if I make 2 loaves, the other loaf goes in the freezer. And I really do this a lot in the summer when I make my zucchini bread. Let's see, this one is Zouk 815. And I will still be serving this 12 months later. I let it thaw out, and it is as fresh and moist as when I originally bake it. I double foil it and put it in the freezer after it has cooled. You want to make sure it's completely cool. But it's a great way. I make a lot of this up, any specialty breads. And then if I have a potluck or something to go to, I just take this out of the freezer the night before and I'm ready to go. So this is my baking cabinet. I have extracts here, different flavors. And then these are my baking chips and my nuts. You see, this is the milk chocolate chips. I have peanut butter chips. I have semi-sweet back there and Heath chips. And I keep them sealed with my vacuum sealer in a canning jar. You can see I can hold it by the lid. Doesn't come off. So these are sealed really well. And you know, the way you can tell if the chocolate is getting too old is it goes white. Well, believe me, these keep an extraordinary amount of time in these canning jars, as long as you properly vacuum seal them. They're still fresh. Now, I will probably use these before 18 months goes by, but anyway, they would keep fresh. And you can do this with leftover Halloween candy too. And back there is my pecan pieces, and I have some walnuts back there. Those are nuts that I'm probably going to use in the next 3 months or 6 months or so. Otherwise, I do vacuum pack them and put them in the freezer for longer storage. I also have here some, let's see if I can see it, go the right way here. Baker's semi-sweet chocolate for baking. Oats also. I take them out of the original package and I put them in a canning jar and again vacuum sealed them. And they will last a lot longer. Just to show you the vacuum, I have a food saver machine. It does have the accessory attachment. So I can put a jar in here with a lid and not the ring, just the lid, and then put that down in and put it on and on the accessories, and it'll take out all the air and it will seal the jar. But you can also use this on the jar, place it over, and I have a small mouth one and a large mouth one, and then your accessory goes in here and it vacuum seals it. And you just take this off and now you have sealed your food for a long time. I really enjoy having a vacuum saver, food saver I should say. Really comes in handy. And these are two great attachments to get. You might also want to consider getting some of these jars that have, I think they were actually for marinating something, but they work great if you have a bigger jar. Just put it in there and put your little accessory tube thing right in here, and you vacuum seal your jars with no problems whatsoever. I hope you found that information interesting. I'd love to hear what you do to extend the shelf life of food. These are just some simple things that I do and it works well for me. This is Prepper Potpourri saying please subscribe and share the knowledge. Thumbs up if you like this video, and thank you so much as always for watching. Bye.